Brent and I have definitely learnt a lot over the past few years. Our reality-changing awareness gave us a new perspective to view so many things from. It really did change us from the inside out, and despite all of the challenges, we would not want to go back. We love so much of what we have learned. But there is also a lot that we have not liked learning as well. We have learned that we are not wanted here. That is a rather painful thing to learn. Definitely very painful to accept. We have learned it does not matter what we do, what value we can give, or how we try to help you. Our good hearts that really want the best for you don't matter. Our intellect that can put things together and solve things, that doesn't matter either. Our unique sight matters diddly squat. Our love for you all as the Lord's chosen first fruits, that's not worth anything as well. I guess that's what happens when misunderstandings are in play and people with no conscience gossip and find pure delight in sabotaging people. It's what happens when people do not communicate and ask questions before they fire bullets. Brent and I never fit into the world, and we just had smiles like kids in a candy store to find this community, a place to finally belong. Our awareness of reality changing finally made us fit somewhere. But it's very clear, despite the fact that we can see what you can see, we are not wanted here. And the ticket of entry to here is something other than being Mandela affected or seeing Bible changes. So believing that we fit here, that was just a very short-lived illusion, no less than anything else in this world. We really are on our own. The people who find delight in sabotaging us are committed. They've made that very clear. And they are not going to stop because they are already so deep in with their story. The harm they have done, they are never going to want to take responsibility for. They know we can see the scriptures changing, but all the same, they want us to have no place to belong when they need some place to belong for the same reason. But for us, no friends are allowed. No love, no conversation, no interaction, certainly no encouragement. We've just not believed that people would want to be the ones responsible for others living a life each day in a sad, lonely, and just depressing circumstance. Not just seeing it, but being responsible for it. It's a miserable person that wants loneliness for another human. It's unbelievable to me that they have not seen the inhumanity in their actions. I don't want pain of any sort for anyone here, and yet so many want that for me. That's a really bitter pill to swallow. Someone said to me, Chanel, you are hurting me, and you've had a really detrimental effect on my life. I literally would drop everything and work out what I could do to fix it. But I've screamed in pain to the people hurting me, and they only continue. I went into great detail of the specific harm their actions did to my life, and they ignored me. They continue to ignore me. All I wanted was a sorry. The amount of cruel things that they have done, we deserve an apology. And we ask for help in what they did because they continue to do it. And we received no help at all. I fooled myself into thinking that this was a caring, loving community. It should be, which is why it hurts me so much that it isn't. For the record, to ignore a person in so much anguish is one of the cruelest things you can do in an adult world. And when adults are playing a childish freeze-out game with full united intention to do that, that's even crueler again. There are a zillion books written on communication because it is so effective. Do you ever notice that so many painters are inspired to paint Jesus with his hand out, reaching for people? I've not ever seen a painting that was inspired to be painted of him ignoring someone trying so hard to be heard with so much pain in their heart. What so many of you believe that Jesus wants sickens me. Jesus does not want these people to harm me. He does not want anyone harming anyone. But they are doing it anyway in his name. For some reason, they want to be the villains in our lives to be the heroes in your lives. That's the script they have written and written all of you into. That is also the script that Jesus is reading. If they were right in what they have done, they have just saved you from hearing us say, love one another through this difficult reality-changing experience. Speak your message together in a united way to be louder to those still asleep, and put all your trust in Jesus. If they are wrong, they've robbed you of who we are and what we could have showed you in our genuine love for you all and genuine desire to help you all. But all the odds are in their favour. They make out that there are two sides and you need to be on their side. There are no sides, we are all on the same team. They have stolen my work and shared only portions of it that they know will get the reactions. We have been lied about in so many ways, and those lies have been supported by many. They have spread we are guilty of adultery to make it seem like we're untrustworthy people. Both of our spouses know that is not true. Nina declared all my dreams and visions are from Satan. Nobody could ever know that. Nobody has any evidence of that, but just to speak it plants the seeds in your minds, and that seed has a habit of growing. They've called us deceivers. Cat has called us wolves publicly. Do you think that might have an effect on the opinions of people? They have done the groundwork to make sure we are seen in the worst possible light. It's a shame for them, none of it is true. You are all experienced enough to know that once someone with reputation ruins your reputation, it's near impossible to regain it, whether that's fair or not. So in you wanting to believe them and participating in the spread of stolen information that can be so easily misinterpreted, I understand that, we are not even going to try anymore to change your mind. We have made our position clear. We preach love, kindness, and unity in this community that should be easily formed based on Jesus and our unique site. Those two ingredients should be bringing us together just as it did in the beginning. You are awake enough to hear that, understand my words, and either want that also or reject it and live with whatever consequences follow. This community is useless to preaching the message that it should be in your little divided parties with different theories about the Mandela effect that don't even add up. Your message is so weak. If it wasn't weak, you would have woken up the world by now. But you can't with no solid message that they can believe because enough people are saying the same thing. A message that is like being sung from a mountain in exactly the same tune. You don't make yourselves look appealing to the world either, so they would have no desire to join you right now. My husband is repulsed by the behaviours here. It's nothing for one brother to turn against another in this neighbourhood, or battle it out in comments. People can flip overnight from gung-ho support to joining the game of let's ignore Brant and Chanel. Flip like a switch. That's not reliable or dependable. So you can't rely or depend on anyone here. And that's not an appealing community to join for most people. Too many tear people down all the time, judging people not by their sight but by their human flaws that each of you also have in many forms. So does the rest of the world, and smart people will avoid a community that looks at their flaws first. It would have been nice if you could have all based your value of Brant and myself on what we provide to you through our channel directly, because what we provide we have thoroughly tested and are convicted on as being information to share with you. Have you noticed that we have never shared that we want to be a king or queen? But others have shared that and insisted we believe that for 2.5 years that we have denied it. That's a long time of us saying no, we don't think that, and a long time for them to ignore us and keep telling people that we think that about ourselves. They even try to tell us that we think that. They might be able to get to you and make you believe that, but they can't get to us because we know ourselves better than they do. We don't think today what they spread in this community any more than the day I received the words that they have interpreted the way that they have. It's not normal for adults to go to people and say someone thinks something about themselves when they have actively denied it so many times. Show me somewhere else in mature adult dealing that this happens. It's just not normal. Why are you doing something so abnormal and not able to see how abnormal it is? Because the enemy wants you to do it. So he has clouded your normal adult judgment on this particular issue. Only you can say to him enough and snap out of it. We are insulted by what they believe and spread and want no part of it. Every single one of us are kings and queens in the Lord's kingdom with absolute equality. But if Jesus said to me, Chanel, in order for me to put crowns on all of these people's heads, you must give up yours, I would do that for you. That's how much I care about all of you and how much I don't care about a crown. Brant has been accused of wanting to replace Jesus in this fiasco. It is so insulting in how much Brant loves Jesus and sacrifices daily for him. Nothing is more important to Brant than serving Jesus. I've seen things he has dropped instantly when he has been called by the Lord. You can't love Jesus so much you walk away from your life, your livelihood, everything, and want to replace him at the same time. That is opposite ends of the scales, complete contradictions. Brant did the walking away from income, prestige in his employment, family and friendships that would not accept the new reborn him. And so he is on that end of the scale, not the one the sabotagers preach to you all. It just baffles me how lousy people are here at being detectives. You take one thing and base your whole belief around it. That might be just fine in some cases, but when you have someone's reputation hinging on it, you have to do better. If you don't want to stand guilty of getting it wrong and ruining a good person in the process. I gave up everything also. My home, money, Everything. I had a beautiful house when I first got affected. My dream house. I had a picture I was working towards as well. But it disappeared from my vision the day I saw a wolf in Isaiah. Now I live in a bus, so I can afford to work full-time for Jesus with Brant. It's far from easy to live that way, but it is much harder when you are doing that and being called a wolf by your own people as you do it. Sacrifices are not a game of who sacrifices more, but they are pretty good evidence of how much a person is invested in ministry to Jesus. How low will they take themselves in comfort to do that? And in taking yourself lower, that's called humbling yourself. Pride does not exist where humility lives. Again, opposite ends of the scales. But these people take so little of our story. It's a big story. And from that insist Jesus does not want either of us. They are committed to making sure Jesus knows they don't want us and don't care that it has hurt us for that to be so. We don't think that's going to work out too well for them with all that we know. Washington Jackson just sent me a message saying that he sees value in the work that I produced in the 5 videos. But if you are telling people not to listen to me and turning people against me, they're never going to see it, are they? They're never going to take it seriously. Why would you do that to someone that you can see some value in? It's baffling. We really have had enough of people speaking for us. We can't stop it happening, clearly. Gossip is just as active here as it is in the world. But we are not participating in it. If you want to believe we want to be a king and a queen, you are free to believe their story. If you think that is the only thing on the face of the earth their evidence can mean, well, we leave you to that simple mentality. To me, that is no different to saying reality is changing and stopping there, not trying to find out why. The details that go further are most important, and the details lead you to truth. Brant and I are like detectives. Jesus gives us one clue, then he gives us another and another and another for the first clue. Where we end up is important, much more important than where we began. But you are all stuck on step 1. We are tired of saying reality is changing, anything is possible, and you not listening. Really tired of it. I think I was tired of that 2 years ago. You should have worked out all of that for yourselves on day 1, but you are not anything is possible people. You are still this is possible, but that's not possible people. So we are coming from different mindsets and therefore are not going to have the same view of circumstances. You are people that know it's possible reality is changing, but you don't think it's possible that Brant and I can know more than you. You can all know more than the rest of the church, and you all be good with that. You are not being prideful in that because you know it is truth. But we can't know more than you because you don't want to believe you know less than someone else, even though you know by your own experience it's very possible. The church says, and you think you all have some special sight where you can see more than us. They mock us like that. And the other day I got exactly the same kind of message from Washington Jackson. Exact mocking tone. Chanel, I know you think you can see more than us. Blah, 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 blah. He does not see what we see, so he is at a disadvantage. But his biggest disadvantage is not believing it is possible. To see more than others is to hurt more. And we literally could not be in more pain. You are so not ready for some of what we see. So much so, you may very well die not knowing it. We are not going to share things with you that exceed what you already cannot handle. Thankfully, Brant and I are a witness to each other in what we know and what you don't know. If it was just me knowing it, then nobody on this earth would ever believe I know more, and in that, I might even start to question myself and think, am I going insane? But just like all of us validate to you that yes, reality is changing and you are not going crazy, Brant validates to me what I see because he can see it also. We are happy to look crazy to the church because we see the Bible changing and declare the truth of that. And we are happy to look crazy to you because we know who we are and we know who you are and so much more. We've never had to tell you who we are. Other people have done that for us against our wishes. Pretty sure if you gather up all of those who say they are the 2 witnesses, ours will be a standout story. Reality changing will be the first unique factor. The fact the others who claim they are cannot see that the Bible is changing wipes out 99% of them just there. That's something we all know that they don't know. Then the rest of our story is friends who betrayed us, our work stolen and shared around, our hearts broken, rejection of epic proportions, called wolves, lied about, had our channel sabotaged. Brant has been teleported many times. I'm hearing Jesus and can prove it with numbers. Endless love for you all as you abuse us. Not to mention I know where all the Mandela effects fit, can predict words that will become a Mandela effect because I'm shown that, and have even given you a song the Lord told me he would change, just to see that fulfilled within weeks. Did you miss that? I told you in one of my videos to watch the song Hungry Eyes, and maybe it's Mandela reported not long after that she saw a change. You will see on her video me asking her a question that was never replied to. I wanted to know if she saw my video and then went and looked at it, or if it was just pure inspired experience. Safe to say, with no mention of my video in her video, or no reply to my question, it was pure inspiration from the Lord. It's all fully documented with timestamps, which means you can verify my words and then see that it happened. There is also our lives playing out in the Mandela effects. For just one example, when Washington Jackson, in his ignorance and belief that he knows everything, declared with absolute authority that I do not hear from the Lord, and I do not have a symbolic earpiece in my ear, hearing Jesus as I claimed on one of my videos. Immediately after his words, Britney Spears lost her earpiece and microphone in Whoops, I Did It Again. He really should examine the title and ask himself what he keeps doing that he should be saying whoops for. This happens over and over again, and you all miss it because you don't see it, but we see it in full vision. And we have recorded it for the 3 years that we've been working together. Yeah, it's a pretty unique testimony that we have. It's priceless, actually, but we would have shared it for free had anyone been interested. And we would have also shared the letters that you were meant to see had you been patient. I honestly am puzzled that Nina also has letters from the Lord on the Mandela effect and a letter on flat earth, yet it seems you've not seen those. Seems they have not been shared around. No, again, they have not looked at the whole, but zeroed in on what can be sensationalized, just as the corrupt media does. And like, people are not supposed to fall for that. Ask for more information. My work was stolen, and I have been violated with what has been done. All done against my wishes. That is not Christian behaviour, what has happened. None of you would like done to you what has been done to me, and you've participated in it. None of you appreciate what you are looking at, because you have such a narrow lens and this deep desire to find a deceiver, as if you get brownie points for doing that. Those letters, they are precious to me, because I understand them. And what you have all done with them? It's like you have used them for toilet paper. I just emailed the sabotage ringleaders the other day and gave them another chance to apologise for the horrid things that they have done. When you do horrid things, it means you have horrid traits that need to be worked on. All I wanted from them ever is an apology. When you lie about someone, that person you lied about deserves an apology. They might not deserve an I agree with you on all things, let's be friends message, but they deserve an apology. If you've hurt a person, they deserve an apology. You have all hurt me in not caring we were lied about. I would have cared if it was you that had been lied about. We have longed for interaction with you all, but no more. Brand has vowed you will never hear from him again, and let me tell you, he does not go back on his word. You can all consider him dead, was his words, knowing that the intention all along has been to kill us off, and they won't stop until they do. I think you all lost a valuable asset, but if you can't see any worth in him, it's your loss. You have to live with driving one of your own people out to a life of loneliness and all that comes with that. Jesus knowing you did it is one of the things that comes with that. But all the same, there are some that will be happy to know Brant is suffering. They want you to make him and I suffer. It's what they are working together for, and I never thought I would see that from Christians, so it might make them happy now, but happiness can often be short-lived. It can turn on a dime about as fast as a person can go from enthusiastic support to deleting every ounce of it. That's real fast, as we have seen. I still have work to share with you that I am obligated to share, and Jesus asking me to, but this channel is a one-way pipeline going out, because we want nothing to return to us from this community. It's as tainted as the Bible is, and only Jesus can fix it, because you don't want to. This pipeline, think of it as dispersing oil. I've already shown you all of the oil Mandela effects in video 4 linked to Zechariah 4. The reported Mandela effects are Pennzoil. The squeaky wheel gets the oil. The Beverly Hillbillies line, it's too full of oil. The song Margaritaville, with the deck is all covered in oil. There's Murphy's oil soap. Popeye's wife, olive oil. Yes, that's olive oil. And to confirm that, the company Bragg's changing to Bragg, who sell olive oil as well. Think of yourselves as 10 virgins, because you are the virgins from Revelations 11, even if you don't think it's possible. It's close to midnight, surely no arguments about that. Lamps that need oil, and lampstands that are olive trees that produce oil. See the connection? Did you know that it is Actually, 5 unwise people who work together to sabotage us and try to stop us from getting this oil to you. Put the pieces of the jigsaw puzzle together. It's really not that hard. You are free to choose as you please, but there are half that are wise and half that are foolish. You have to work out for yourselves who has the oil. When you are thinking about foolish virgins, don't forget the Mandela effect from the 18th, that is, pity the fool. It no longer exists. It's the Lord that wants you to choose wisely. That's why there is a Mandela effect with Run You Fools that has changed in Lord of the Rings. Hootie and the Blowfish has had a change in their song with the word fool. Mark Twain's quote about fools has changed. The movie Fools Rush In has residue of, Lucy, you got some splaining to do. Some foolish people will have some splaining to do to the Lord. Matthew Perry is the one speaking that residue. Connect Matthew Perry to Matthew 18. It contains the protocol on dealing with perceived sin in the church, which never happened in the case of Brant and myself, as I have made known several times. You can't influence a church before going to the people you believe are sinning and hearing their side of the story. You should also not kick them out before that has happened. In our 5-part video series, we have shown you all of the Mandela effects fitting into Revelations 11 and Zechariah 4. Why do those 2 specific chapters line up with reality changes, and why were we the ones given that information to share with you? Again, it's not that hard to figure out. These 5 also keep saying we believe we are the 2 witnesses. That is also not true. You will never hear the genuine 2 witnesses say, I believe I'm a witness, or I think I'm a witness. Perhaps I'm a witness. Maybe I'm a witness. When it is time for them to say we are the 2 witnesses, it's because they know with certainty they are the 2 witnesses. It is time to say we know we are the 2 witnesses. We also know you don't believe us, but you believing us is not part of our job description. Our job is to believe in who you are, and we do. So you can take our words and sensationalize them if that is in your heart to do. Punish us for the position we got put into, even though we never asked for it any more than you did of the position you are in. We have received enough punishment from this community already that you really cannot hurt us any more than you already have. Your behaviour wears us right down at this point, but can't make us hurt anymore. Our channel is and always has been based on perspective. You have been tested by the Lord on perspective with all that was shared behind closed doors. One person was trusted with the information who gave her word not to share it. As of this week, I would have no hope to count how many has seen it. Every person has thought the worst and acted upon those thoughts. Nobody has wanted to know what it meant from my perspective. Washington Jackson asked me some questions. I was happy about that when he did it. I made a video to answer him personally, and I asked the other day if he wanted me to send it. His reply today was, sure, send it, but based on all that I've said, which is his accusations towards us, do you really feel you can change my mind? The answer to that is no. With that statement, he is proving his mind is already made up before he has got any answers to the questions that he asked. People with that mindset don't deserve the information. Pearls before swine situation. He also wasted my time yet again. Don't ask questions if you don't want answers. And don't act like you can make judgments serious enough to influence others if you don't have the answers. Perspective is everything. We keep saying that. One person can read a scripture that the Lord gave them and see it and read it one way, and the next person can read it and get something entirely different from those words. The very same thing can happen when the Lord gives me words also, you see. He is unchanging like that. But in both cases, different perspectives should not end up in anyone getting hurt. That's where you failed. And when it comes to perspective, just a small piece of information can change everything. You are all old enough to have lived that experience many times to know that is the truth. We've just seen a perfect example of it. Somebody who was going out of their way to support us because they saw so much value in our content. But then they got the knock, knock, knock on the door from the sabotagers, and without even speaking to us, withdrew support immediately. Comments removed, link to our videos gone, and Brant kicked out without notice. But see, just as that extreme reaction happened through a piece of information, there could be another piece of information that would change his perspective entirely again. That's just how life works. So that is why you need to think carefully about what you do and who you hurt in this life. What you think is right to do can suddenly turn very wrong. If you hurt nobody, you can never be accused of hurting the Lord's people by mistake. It's your safest position. Choose it. In our long, painful journey, we have always been waiting for one question, praying for one question. That question is, why do you think you are the 2 witnesses? But nobody has ever asked it. Everybody just wanted to tell us why we were deluded and deceived, wanted to lecture us as to why we could not be, scoff at us like we are crazy, wanting us to repent for having the nerve to think it. But none of you can prove we are not, because it's unprovable. That's why it is a mystery that everybody has their own idea on. Brent and I are not good enough for you. You are fast running out of time for those two to show up. How long do you think Bible Changes is going to last for? I, for one, would really like to wrap this up sooner rather than later. But the Lord is waiting on all of you. When you all get your act together, get on the same page, reach the top of the mountain and start singing the same united tune, in a united way, Jesus will meet you there in the significant way that you long for. The next video will be a short letter I received from the Lord. I've always wanted unity in this community, but the Lord wants it even more than me. I also wrote a poem a few weeks ago. I'll release that seeing as it's already done. I don't expect any of you to care now, but one day you just might. Everything that I share, take to the Lord for his confirmation. It's a standard clause that comes with all of our work. I am really sad that Brant has been driven out of this community, a community that he does belong in. We just won't fight against people determined to sabotage him at any cost. Stalking our comments section just to turn people who support us against us is pretty low, and definitely means there is no use us leaving comments on, so they are now permanently off. Brant rightly believes if they want the win so bad that they will stoop to these low levels, let them have the win they want. Whether it really is a win or turns out to be a loss will all be a matter of perspective. Thank you, Brant, for all that you have done for this community with such a generous heart. For all our personal conversations about the people in this community, that was about how important everyone is here to the Lord and how much good that you want for them. If only they knew. Thank you for not only seeing, but also loving just how much I love them myself. Thank you for all the time you have spent documenting everything so it can never be lost. For what you put together with your gifts just to show what is hidden and how Jesus can work through someone to reveal it. I'll miss you being excited about releasing a new video, but I'm so thankful to know that you offer your full support to me as I take over from here. Thank you for encouraging me like no other, and for always believing in me. I'm so blessed by it. Our unity cannot be undone, any more than our sight can. We are in this together, and I'm so very glad it's you that I am in this with. Very, very glad.